Hello everyone. Today we will learn about SUMIF and SUMIFS function in the Excel. So let's get started. So here I have a set of data with the ID, the item name, region, quantity, price per quantity and the total price. So as you can see here I have a set of items here bought from these regions and the quantity, and I have price per quantity, that is for each quantity of these item what is the price and the total price. So here we will look at a sum function which helps us to calculate the total sum. Before we get started with the sum function, you should also know that there is a feature in Excel where if you drag the entire column where you wanted to find some details, at the bottom right you can see that the average, the total count and the sum is seen. So the total sum here says 44, but if you click on the other cell, that particular feature or a tab vanishes, right? So how you can get the sum is with the formula, right? So there are two types how you can write this formula. So FG formula in Excel starts with an equal to sign. One is by clicking at the cell directly plus this cell plus this cell, right? And that will give you the sum. But that will take a huge amount of time because the number of items that we have here is huge. That's 18, right? So you have to do this particular thing for 18 times. So instead of that, we have an easiest formula in Excel, that is sum. So after the equal to sign, you will have to write the letter sum, SUM, press the tab button, and as you can see here in the formula it says number 1, number 2. This could also be a range. So when you say what range is, this can be called as a range, or this can be called as a range, this can be called as a range. So sum of this particular range. Now close the bracket and press enter. So that will give you the sum of the quantity. So if you look at the total price, now if you want the total price to be calculated, let's use the same formula. You can pause the video here or you can follow me. Equal to sign, sum, press tab, select the values and press enter. Right, so this is the total sum of this entire range. How we can confirm it? Select the entire range. Look here, it's 1020 and we have the value. Awesome, right? So this is about sum. Next we'll look at the SUMIF and the SUMIFS statement. So what is SUMIF, right? SUMIF is nothing but the calculation of sum if there is a condition. So let's say that according to this question, what is the total of all items if the total price is above 50? So we need to calculate the sum of all the items if the total price of those item is above 50, right? So that means we'll have to calculate entire thing, provided we'll have to skip the ones that are below 50, that is 10, 20, 4, 40, 30, 20, so on. How can we do this? We can do this with the help of the SUMIF function. So how do we write the formula? That is equal to sign SUMIF, press tab. Now they're asking for the range, right? So the range here is this, right? That's the range, comma, it is asking for a criteria. So the criteria is such that it should be greater than 50. So greater than symbol is a character function in Excel. So all we have to do is put double quote greater than 50 and close the double quotes and then press comma. Okay, next it asks for sum range. As you can see here, some of the formulas will have square brackets, so that means it's optional argument. In our case it's an optional argument again, but since for understanding purposes what I'll do is I'll select the sum range. Sum range is nothing but the same range. Okay, this might be confusing for you guys for now. Let's close the bracket. I will explain this more detailed, what should be the sum range and what should be the normal range, right? So the total price here says 740. How can we confirm it? Just select the values that is above 50, right? So we have 55. I'm pressing control to get the cells selected as per my requirement. So these are the cells that have values above 50, and as you can see here the sum is 740, right? So we are right in this regard. To make it a little bit more understandable for you, I have another example for SUMIF itself. What is the number of coffee mugs bought? So here we need to calculate the total number, that is quantity, this particular column, where this includes only coffee mugs. So we have different items here, but we need to include only coffee mugs. How we can do that? Equal to sign SUMIF, press tab. The range will be the place where you apply the criteria for. Now the criteria is this column should be a coffee mug, right? Now the range is this one where we apply the criteria, press comma. So the criteria is coffee mug, right? This one. So you can select any one of the coffee mug here. I can select this or this, right? Again we have this, so any one of these. I'm going to select one. You can also type this with double quotes since that is a character. Next is sum range. Sum range is this particular column. Close the bracket, press enter. As you can see here, the value is 9. So that means we have a total number of coffee mugs as 9. So let's calculate it, right? Coffee mug 1. I'm pressing control here to select this particular cell, also this one, right? So we have 3 cells with coffee mug in the item name. So as you can see here, the sum says 9. So we are at the right track. Next we'll look at the SUMIFS formula. So SUMIFS formula is used whenever you need to find the sum of cells with multiple criteria involved. So for example, if you see this particular question, it says what is the number of erasers bought from North. So as you can see here, we have this column and this column, and criteria has to be applied on both the columns, so that we will not include this, but we will include this and this, right? So that's where the SUMIF formula comes handy. So how can we find that? Start with an equal to sign, press SUMIFS, press tab. The sum range means the range where you need to find the sum, right? This would be the sum range, right? In SUMIF, the formula had slight changes that you need to find the range first, not the sum range. Sum range comes at the end, but here the sum range comes in the beginning, okay? Comma, criteria range 1 is this one. This is my criteria range, comma. What is the criteria 1? Criteria 1 says that number of erasers. So that means eraser is my criteria. It should be an eraser, comma. Criteria range 2 is the region, right? Comma. What is the criteria 2? Criteria 2 says that it should be from North. I can select any North. Okay. Close the bracket, press enter. So it says 8. So the total number of erasers bought from North seems to be 8. So let's look at it. Eraser East, we can't consider this 2 since it is bought from East. We have another eraser here from North, that is 2, plus eraser from North, that is 6. So I'm going to press Control and click 6. So the total sum here says 8. So that means 8 is the correct answer. So this is about SUMIF and SUMIFS. Let me know in the comment section if you have any questions or doubts. You can also reach out to me at leninlabs1996@gmail.com.